I am Anne Kiguta, and joining me now in studio, we have two members of key coalitions in the country, of course, from CORD and representing as well ODM, the chair of the Elections Board, Franklin Bett, to my immediate right, Karibu Sana. To my extreme right is Sunday Oyolo. He is the Executive Director of Campaigns at UDF. Thank you for coming in this evening. And also joined by, in the middle, Professor Peter Alingo. He's the Executive Director of the Institute of Education in Democracy, and also a member of ELOG, which is an elections observation group. Thank you so much to all my guests for speaking to us tonight. I want to begin with the representatives of the two coalitions, and there's a lot of confusion as to who exactly is taking part in these primaries. Who's going to be voting? Are they registered voters or registered party members?
There should be no confusion. We have made it extremely clear as CORD that a person holding the national identity card and a person appearing on the IEBC register will participate in the elections. We have not been able to use the party's register for reasons which are more or less housekeeping, in the sense that we were not able in time to put together all the registries from across the country. And as well, that the criteria now being used is equally good.
What's the situation for UDF?
UDF, we have a little different from what ODM have. We have the party list of members that has accumulated over time. So we had put a clause to it, and we are using that list compiled across the country. Okay, so and party members. We have the register, yes, that we are going to use for this.
All right. Are you gentlemen both happy with the security preparations? I know you, both your coalitions have, of course, been in touch with security officials. Do you feel that the right apparatus is in place to ensure a free and fair exercise tomorrow?
I must begin by thanking the President, who has added his voice to the need to be vigilant on security. And he has instructed the security apparatus across the country to be fully alert for any ill-motivated people who may be wishing to foment chaos. We are also extremely grateful to the Inspector General. He's deployed to us personnel at our polling stations. And there are personnel who are also equipped with the relevant equipment for that purpose.
But you know, what we've witnessed in the past 24 hours has truly been disturbing, and you've watched the clips that we've been playing of the violence in Kisumu, in Bumula, and in other places. And I know as ELOG, you're watching this situation very closely. How far do you think the violence that we have seen over the past 24 hours will influence the credibility of tomorrow's exercise?
Yes, indeed. The question of violence in the coming nominations tomorrow is quite a concern to us. And then we are seeing this in the context of increased sporadic violence, not just in areas that are perceived as strongholds of certain political parties, but in other areas of the country as well. And our concern is that for the process to be really credible and be viewed as a process that has integrity built in it, peace has to be there, law and order has to be there, the rule of law must prevail, and that is the bottom line. And our concern really is at the level of preparedness, both on the side of the political parties and also on the side of the security operators in this country.
Do you think political parties are well prepared?
Well, we hear them tell us that they are prepared, but you see, we've just listened to Honorable Franklin Bett here telling us that the voting process will be on the basis of anybody who is in the national register and has a national ID. So potentially for CORD, all the registered 14.3 million voters could
go
hop
and
from
vote.
one place to another.
I want to
vote
there.
without vetting that. Primarily, in principle, that is that, without him telling us really what are the control mechanisms that they have put in place.
What are the
But these are the things that we need to know.
I want to make it, maybe my friend is not aware also. Parliament changed the law and said in a primary over party, the members and supporters shall be allowed to participate. That was the last amendment that was given before Parliament went on sign die. So there is no, hitherto, it was indeed a requirement that, like my colleague in UDF is saying. So we are not in any way committing an offense in that particular aspect.
I think,
and if I may say, what is wrong with the 14 million Kenyans if they are coming to vote
how will you
along with us?
How will you control 14 million Kenyans?
And the principle is this, that we must be able to see some sense of growth in internal party democracy. And the way party operates, there has to be some sanity and order. And that requires that we are able to have a mechanism through which we can identify those who are
party members.
Those who are either party members or supporters. You cannot say that anybody who is in the national register is either a supporter or a member. They can as well be members or supporters of the Amani coalition right next to us here. And that is where we see a potential.
No
discipline on the part of CORD.
Absolutely. And for them as well.
What do you think?
What I'm seeing is a recipe for chaos, where people who will have voted in Amani or UDF, for that matter, will then in the afternoon cross over, because they form part of the 14 million anyway. So they will go over.
Unless they are also,
the CORD.
Ourselves, we are using indelible ink. Unless you are not using any control mechanism.
So you'll be able to see that they have actually taken part in another primary.
If you are not controlling them by putting that mark on their fingers or whatever place, so that they may not be able to vote elsewhere, then in my view,
Amani coalition will be the cause of that chaos. Let me talk about some of the problems that we've seen with your coalition, and of course the issue of Newford Kenya's aspirant attacking a UDF aspirant, even the allegation of a gun being drawn. What measures are you going to take as a party to deal with this and to instill discipline and show that you're not going to tolerate any kind of violence?
Violence is not tolerated, particularly within the Amani coalition. The name suggests that we don't tolerate.
So what you're going to do with the words right now?
I know that the organs of the coalition and the apex are dealing with that, and the communication will be made.
That doesn't sound very satisfactory. It sounds like you're hoping something is being done, but nothing really is being done.
I'm saying will. I actually use the word will.
Such as, what are your options?
No, I
not
don't
having these aspirants take part in the nomination, that would sound like a clear warning.
Absolutely.
What I'm saying is that the top organs of the coalition are meeting for the purposes of that particular incident.
Well, you know us, we'll follow you up on that. On Sunday, I asked you about violence and what you're willing to do. We've had the Milimani Market ward aspirant having been arrested for a period of time in possession of machetes and all of that. Is the party going to let him take part in the primaries?
We have opened a file, and we are monitoring the behavior of every aspirant. In fact, in effect, I have released a letter or a circular letter to all the aspirants requiring them to maintain law and order. We have attached to that requirement that any aspirant who will sponsor, who will abate violence, shall face the consequences of being disqualified.
Let me come to you,
And
Prof.
there's
a file, there's a meeting. Are these satisfactory answers to you from parties?
Not at all. They are not satisfactory at all. And these are the things that as observers in the process we raise so that, you know, tangible, real interventions can be made. In the hope that who will
take action?
Look, I mean, the party has responsibility. It is an institution. Parties are institutions of governance. We expect them to have good structures in place, you know, in preparation for this. And we want to see functional structures and machinery in place. We don't want to see a kind of glossing over these issues, because these are the issues which spill over if they are not dealt with. Simply opening a file, simply telling us that the party echelons
is taking action.
Is taking action. I would love to continue with this conversation, but I can't. Gentlemen, I thank you. And Linda, these are the very real challenges that are facing parties ahead of this primary. There doesn't seem to be real action, real determination to instill discipline among their members, among their supporters, saying that violence will not be tolerated. But of course, as we continue in the defense of public interest, we'll keep our eyes on them. Back to you in studio.